I'm Linda van Tilburg for BizNews. Two councils have been singled out by Ratings Africa as the most financially sustainable municipalities in South Africa. In its latest Municipal Financial Stability Index, Midvaal and Saldanha Bay came out as two best-run municipalities in the country. And smiling about that is the Executive Mayor of Saldanha Bay, André Truter. André, hi.
Hi, Linda. Thank you for having me. Yes, these days municipalities don't have much to smile about, and our country don't have much to smile about. And for us, it's particularly special to give people hope and say it can be done. There are pockets of brilliance out there, and it's not only that there's pockets of brilliance. There's pockets of brilliance that's done it consistently for a decade. So, yes, we are smiling today. And, the last 18 months since taking office as the mayor, it's been challenging. We've been facing a disaster since I put that chain around my neck. I was part of the previous council as well. And I think any council out there in South Africa can say that this has been probably the hardest period for a council to start off. The first year you're supposed to find your feet well. We had to hit the ground running, and we were faced with challenges every single day. And in the light of that, I think this makes this a lot more special than what people can think.
So what was the criteria that they used?
They used affordability of rates and tariffs. They used infrastructure development. They used your operating performance, your budget position, liquidity management, and debt governance. Those were the 6 criteria that Ratings Africa used. Must also add that Ratings Africa is completely independent. They apolitical. They use purely financial approach, including our audit statements, everything. So they go literally right through from your audited statements, your income, your debt collection, your capital spending, etc., etc. So it's quite a stringent thing. And people give awards out these days left, right, and centre, but a lot of them are sometimes politically motivated and driven. And yes, they are nice to get, but they speak to what we feel and not what we are. So I'm particularly proud of this one because this is nobody that owes us anything. They're an independent company. They've done it for a long time. They've done it consistently. And that's what makes it more special for us.
And with you is Midvaal. You came out exactly at the same top level, which is interesting. And then I see some of the councils, you got 72 out of 100 on their scale.
Yes.
And then some councils were like extremely low. I saw one in Naledi, formerly Vryburg, who only got about 7. So what's going on in your council compared to what's going on in Naledi?
Ma'am, I'm not sure that you want my reply, but I always try and speak honesty and life to situation. I think it's fair to say that, and I said it in my interview, that I think there are too many political solutions to practical financial and operational problems. And I think the moment that you start chasing a political agenda, you get into trouble. And I think in South Africa particularly, there is a lack of accountability. I get fired as the mayor of Durban, and 2 weeks later, I'm sworn as an MP in Parliament. I mean, ma'am, that just cannot be. So and then of course, it also becomes generational then, because the one council does badly, the next one do very badly. So by the time the third one comes, it's a snowball effect. And also, it sets off a culture in your administration. Administration is so important. And once that culture of bad governance is in your organization, it's extremely hard to turn that around. It's not just a decision. I mean, It takes a generation to set a culture to say, pick up your papers when you throw it on the ground. I grew up in that, to say, zip it in a zibby blik, and to this day, I cannot get it right to throw a paper on the ground. So it takes a generation to change and to get a good habit in. It takes double as long to get a bad habit out and then a good habit in. And I am, as much as we're a beacon of hope, I hope that people read that report very, very well, because there is some huge alarm bells in that report. And if I was Honourable President Ramaphosa, I would study that really, really well and would get my team around me and say, there's trouble here, we need to act.
You talk about the culture of bad habits, and there's in South Africa a culture of non-payment. Yet your debt collection rate is 98%. How do you do it? And what lessons is there for councils who have this culture of non-payment to get to the rates that you have?
Ma'am, I said it today as well. I think we're very blessed that we've got a culture on the West Coast here. We call it the West Coast because the West Coast can be Australia or America. We West Coast. There's only one West Coast. We've got beautiful people here, and they've got a culture of accountability. They've got a culture of payment. In COVID, I was nearly emotional when I see very poor old ladies standing at our offices and say, "Can you please open, because we want to pay, and we have only a little bit of money, and if we're going to spend this, then we're going to fall behind." And I was blown away by this amazing culture. But it is also a two-way thing. You don't mind paying at a restaurant where you're getting really good food. So it's hard to pay for something that you don't have. And I think that's what makes it difficult for many communities that refuse to pay because they're getting no services. So if you look at our collection rate, it's 98% last year. It's a little bit lower this year. But when I say lower, 1% or so. But there's a direct correlation between that and our service delivery index, because our service delivery index is 96 to 98%. So do you understand what I'm saying? Is the two speaks to each other. Good service, good payment. That people can't pay for services that they do not receive. So, and we're not for a moment saying, I said it yesterday as well, we far from perfect. In fact, me and a municipal manager were sitting outside the door waiting for the interview, and we were having a very strong conversation about how can we do better? How can we be more accountable? Because one must also be careful not to take a short stick to try and measure how tall you are, because that can also get you into trouble.
Well, this is all about sound financial principles, this survey by Ratings Africa. How do you translate that into delivery of service? How do these two go together? So a council that's well run, doesn't mess around with its money, will it have a good delivery of services? Because some people might say, but look at Hermanus, that is the streets are clean. Is that how you measure that kind of accountability?
Ma'am, I think if you go and look at all the municipalities, most of them come out of the DA. It's performing well. And that's not a political statement, because it is a management style. We've got a governance unit that has even given us a handbook as how to run, and they keep us accountable over and above our own systems. So it's kind of a lifestyle, and I jotted a couple of things down here because I knew you would ask me that. I would say planning is exceptionally important. If you're failing to plan, you are planning to fail. I think balance is absolutely vital. You need to look after poor people. You need to look after your indigent. You need to do all that. But there must be a healthy balance. And I think consistency is so important, to do the same thing year in, year out. When I say balance, also I'm talking about doing the basic things right, because you must remember, municipality is not there to create jobs. Municipality is not there to do all kinds of things. They are there for basic service delivery according to the Constitution. And I found that very few people actually understand what is local government. And then the last thing that I think is very important is experience. We had a council meeting today and a lot of people gave us tears because our top structure is very well paid. The reality of the situation is we're actually losing people because they're going to the private sector because local government has set a ceiling as to who we can hire. So if you start losing your experts, then how are you going to be consistent? And I think there's one more thing that I would like to say after hiring experts is do not interfere. Do not put your hands on, when I say your hands on, I'm talking politically. Do not interfere. If you hire an architect, don't tell him how to build the bridge because somebody's going to die. If you hire an architect, let him plan, let him draw or her draw the plans, and you trust them that you hired them because they gave you the CV, you thought they were the best. And then you hold them accountable on performance. That's what we're supposed to do, is performance management. Now, it's very hard for me to say I can fault them on performance management because this municipality has been the top 3 for the last decade now. I mean, that is just unbelievable consistency. So I do not interfere, but I do hold them accountable and I do measure them every day of the week, and I challenge them and myself, maybe myself first, that every day that I wake up, I tell myself, you can do better today than yesterday, and constantly lift them out of their comfort zone, and they constantly lift me out of my comfort zone.
So when you got the prize, you mentioned you can give the ANC some lessons on how to run a council well. Are these the principles you were talking about?
Simple. Corruption, no. Steal, no. And appoint people that are well qualified. I had this conversation with ministers, Saldanha Bay Zuma. She phoned me while I was up at the local government summit, because I said it there to the president. I said, you come with a district development model, which is something they want to implement at local and at municipalities, district municipalities. And I had the municipal manager there with me, and I had a director there with me, and I said, so when you made this plan, did you come and consult with our administration? Because they rated at that stage number 2 in South Africa behind Midvaal and number 1 in the Western Cape. And of course, it was a rhetorical question. He did not. So I said, how can you come with a product, come and give it to us? You tested it in Mafeking, which is bankrupt, and you're coming to tell me to change it. It just doesn't make sense. Why don't you take what we have, copy-paste, implement and adapt to your municipality, and then implement? And I said to Minister Zuma, because she phoned me that night and she spoke to me very nicely, I said to her, ma'am, of course we will help ANC or any other municipality for that matter, because we're not helping a municipality, we're helping people. And that's ultimately who we serve and who we're accountable to. So if you're asking me, will we help another municipality? We do it all the time, ma'am. Other municipalities, sometimes they just happen to be ANC municipalities whose water pipes are breaking or the pumps are breaking. We send our people, we go and help them because we serve people. But I did say to her this, if we go there with a team and we find corruption, we expect you to act or we go home, because our people cost money and we are prepared to share happily all the time to anybody that are in governance. But we do not tolerate corruption, and there's no ways that your body can heal as long as the wind is festering. So yes, we'll help, and we help each other. I mean, other mayors phone me and they say, and it's not only DA mayors, it will be one from Good or one from the ANC and say, did you ever do a policy like this? What does it look like? I say, no, we've done that. We'll send on the policy to you. So I think local government should do that more. Mayors should be given more freedom to do that. And we should get away from political platforms and get to operating platforms.
André, what would you say to people who might say, but André, you sit in that beautiful Saldanha at the coast where there's a culture of payment and it's a smaller municipality. It's more difficult for us in a larger, bigger municipality.
Ma'am, we don't have, with all due respect to my colleague, Dr. Annelie Rabi, we don't have Hermanus. We've got 7 towns. We've got very poor communities. We've got fishing communities. We've got informal settlements. We have 25% unemployment. So we don't have it easy. We have to work hard every single day at this. We cannot relax for one moment. It hasn't been easy. We don't have it easy. We are not a rich municipality. We don't have what they call old money, which some municipalities do have. We don't have that. We come from a very, very humble background. And it wasn't like that always. It is the last 10 years. It wasn't like that before. It was worse. But the DA took over here 12 years ago and systematically have tried to put in good practices, but it's not only about us. It is about a trust relationship between your political leadership, your administration, and of course your private sector. They play a bigger and bigger and bigger role these days, and it is the way of the future. It's how those three can work together without political interference. I don't get a call in my office from a political party or political leader to tell me what to do, because the Structures Acts tell me what to do. The Municipal Financial Management Act instructs me what to do. The Constitution instructs me what to do. So the moment that you come and sit behind this desk, it is no longer political. You serve everybody and you serve every person. And that's both challenging, but it's very rewarding and very humbling to know that you can make a change today.
André Truter, thanks so much and congratulations on that prize.
Thank you, ma'am. I really appreciate your words, and I can just once again say it's not me, it's the team.